If you are a B2B service-based business owner and you are looking to gain more clients, create more impact and more revenue in your business, tune in to Amplify Your Marketing Message with Christine Campbell-Rappin. Every week, we're going to take you through how to build an audience of buyers, mastering your marketing message, and making offers that convert consistently. We'll see you all on the inside. Welcome back, everybody. You know, if you've been here a nanosecond, that I am a big fan of video content because people need authenticity. And yet there's so much artifice out there with the AI, the videos, the pre-created content that it's really hard to know if what you experience in one platform is what you're going to get in real life. And yet so many people are missing the boat on YouTube. And I have brought in an incredible person to talk to us today who's going to really help us figure out not just how to use YouTube, more importantly, how to use it to be seen, to get heard, and to be paid and find clients consistently. Give a very warm welcome to our guest today. I'm super excited to have Vicki O'Neill, who was referred to me from someone in my network. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Super excited.
Thank you so much, Christine. It's so good to be here. I appreciate it.
100%. And you know, this is important because I hear this all the time. And it was something you had said to me when we first connected. People are tired of the racket of social media, constantly producing content, constantly putting it out to the void. And there's so much out there when most of us never set out to be content creators in the first place. So can you give us all a huge opportunity to say social media isn't the only way to grow?
Yes. So that's a great point because we've all experienced it, and we became CEOs or founders or we're working in a particular business to grow something, whether it's a brand, it's a product, it's a service, helping make a bigger impact. And so if other people are like me, and it sounds like you as well, we find ourselves getting stuck in this content hamster wheel where all we're doing is we're feeding algorithms to stay alive and to keep cranking out content so that the platforms themselves actually benefit. They're the ones who are making the most money when we are creating content. And so you and I were talking about this as well. And I was having a conversation with somebody else recently. I'm like, so at what point does it end? And it doesn't, right? So if you want to stay relevant, you have to constantly keep posting. And then we've all experienced it at some point or another when you take a step away because, God forbid you want to take, some me time or a vacation and you don't want to be posting during that time. It feels great to step away, but then when you come back, tell me if if you felt this as well, you come back and you're just like, oh my gosh, I have to you feel like you almost have to start over, right?
And you do, because the speed at which we have created this momentum, this algorithm, is insane and it isn't sustainable. And truthfully, it is harder and harder and harder to stand out. And what does the algorithm reward in every platform across the thing? Eyeballs.
Yep.
And something people want to talk about or share. And that's where so much content flies fat. It is educating, and people are like, yeah, I came to be social. We have somehow lost in all this gamification of this incessant social media world that it was meant to be social. Yes. And social doesn't happen in warp speed the way it is.
Exactly. And it still has a place, obviously, right? Where we're still, having conversations in posts, we're taking conversations to the DMs. That's where sales happen. And obviously it's going to continue to do that. But at some point, and especially as we get, older, and I've been around since all of these platforms were launched. And so that's a long time to be investing in creating content that essentially is no longer relevant 24, 48 hours after you post it. And so it's deflating. And it's not energizing to be on this content hamster wheel for so long. So because I started feeling that way, and I'm like, why do I keep I was feeling it and I was saying it to myself, but I wasn't doing anything about it. So then I finally was just like, you know what? I want to stand out. I want to do something different. I don't want to feel like I'm stuck stuck to my screen, stuck to my keyboard when I want to take time off. And so YouTube was the platform that I decided to spend more time on because it's almost like the opposite of social media, where the algorithm actually recommends, or the people who run the algorithm, they say if you want to stay relevant on YouTube and keep your content out there, post one video a week. That sounds doable, right? If you create one piece of content a week.
The whole audience just exhale, one a week? Like, I'm sorry, tell me
Exactly.
more.
Exactly. Instead of, if you're on LinkedIn, maybe you post once every day, which I don't know that that's the best. I think it's like once every other day is ideal to give your content breathing room. But like on Facebook, your content lasts for like 4 to 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So you might post multiple times a day. So when you look at it and think, okay, one video a week, long form video, so horizontal, make it at least a 10-minute video, that seems like a better investment of my time in addition to or instead of what I'm doing on social media. And
I
so,
love this so much because I heard something this week that I think is accurate and profound, so I'm amplifying it, which is in this world of consumed content that is snackable, right? 4 hours, 3 hours, 10 hours, one day. It has to have relevance to the moment a buyer's ready.
mhm,
But long form content, which kind of came out of favor for a while when TikTok came onto the scene,
mhm,
is now seeing this mass resurgence. Because if you want to know if you can trust me, you don't need to see me for 18 seconds.
mhm,
If you're
right.
going to spend, in our world, you and I both serve high ticket clients, people that spend substantial amounts of money to create a substantial result.
Mhm,
You need a longer form content to say, am I who I said I am?
mhm,
And what will you get 365 days a year when you work with us?
mhm,
And I love this resurgence. And YouTube's a funny platform. When you and I were speaking, and it came out of a conversation with another person in my network who I had spoken to in a global business community. And I said, we haven't done enough with YouTube. We're in YouTube. We obviously produce our podcast. It does go into YouTube. However, I found this fascinating about this platform was many years ago, we first started putting our podcast out there. And a friend of mine halfway around the world had Googled something.
mhm,
Now we're probably chat GPTing it or using AI to search. Search is changing. But YouTube is a search engine, first and foremost. And a piece of content I had created 2 years earlier got scraped by the AI, showed up in the search result. And she's like, I want a client because of a video you produced that helped me showcase the work, the quality, and the way we think.
mhm.
And it was magic. And I'm like, there will be more of that. We need to
Yes.
be strategic about it. So
Yes.
how do you turn your content into binge-worthy content? Because the cool thing about YouTube is it operates 24/7, it's
Mhm,
search-driven,
mhm.
and you can find answers to anything.
Yeah, and it actually, when you create that content too, you can have the confidence and the peace of mind knowing that when you create it, it's going to last a long time.
Yeah.
And so I've got videos just like yours when it showed up in the search results, videos of mine that I created in 2022, 2023, they continue to get views, they continue to get comments, which
Mhm.
means there are more leads. So when you create a piece of content like that, not only is binge worthy, but it's going to have a longer shelf life, meaning that you're going to get more out of the time that you're investing in creating that piece of content that will reward you in views, watch time, leads, and sales for a
Mhm.
longer amount of time. So when you do that and you create a video that's relevant to your target audience, so it's of course knowing who it is that you're serving and then creating a script that's going to attract them to you and get them to want to watch your videos. So of course, that's your thumbnail and your title, right? Because as
Mhm.
we're like searching for information, thumbnails, because they're visual, it's the first thing that we see. And if that's creating enough interest that somebody's just like, okay, what is this? This might be exactly what I'm looking for. They'll look at the title. And then if those two match, and they're like, I've got to watch this video. They click on it and then they'll watch the hook, which we've all heard hooks, right? So you can use those in videos, you can use them in your posts. Um, but it's that piece that actually like gets their attention and kind of draws them in. Like if you can get them to kind of lean in and like, what is she talking about? And then get them to watch longer. And so that content that you put together actually requires time, right? So you're not creating content to just post, but you're investing time in like saying, what do I want this video to say? What is the problem I'm trying to solve? Like just pick one problem or one question, just keep it super simple and then talk about it in that video so that that individual sees you as the expert. They see you as
Mhm.
the go-to person. You're starting to build your authority and your credibility in a whole different way. And like you said earlier, when somebody watches you in a video, they're going to get to know, like, and trust you a lot faster because they can see you. And you can see I talk a lot with my hands. So if you're listening to the podcast, I talk a lot with my hands. But it's essentially just a way to connect human to human. Whereas, as we know, with the growing, use of AI, it's getting harder and harder because there's so much content that's being created by a machine or using AI with a human behind it. But we're starting to lose that human connection because we're looking again for more of that speed of getting information out and not really paying close attention to how, when someone sees this, am I going to create that connection that brings them closer to me so that I can like build a relationship or help them take that next step on the journey to where they're ultimately going.
And that's why so many of us in the world of I am who I say I am
Mhm.
are applauding YouTube's decision to say, we're not going to reward you monetarily for AI generated content. We're going to reward you for human generated content.
Yes.
And we are seeing this pendulum swing, which goes to the point of why that long form content should be intentional, because if you get the micro buy-ins, I like the thumbnail, I like the hook, tell me more, maybe I'll subscribe. There's that whole ecosystem of moving from curious to paid client that's happening 24/7. And when we create podcasts, and I think true with any long form video content, the intent is, will I still want to be talking about this or still feel this way in a long-term runway?
Mhm.
5 years. I said, if it is, obviously we want to be topical as needed, but there's some real fundamentals that we go to for YouTube. We're looking for how to fix a known problem, which makes you already a buyer, which I
Mhm.
think is a faster track by a mile. Why not
Yes.
jump into it?
Yeah. And social media is great for like creating the brand awareness and it's great for the social engagement aspect of it. And obviously you can make sales from that too. But when someone's looking for information and they're wanting to dig deeper into a particular topic or, find more information out about something specific, they're not going to go to a social media platform. They're just not. And we have to think of our own user behavior too, is that if I want to learn how to um, fix a doorknob. Obviously, I'm not going to go to social media for that. But if
I'm
I'm
not
looking
going to
for a
TikTok for
business
say
coach,
18 seconds. I'm
I'm sorry.
not going to go to TikTok for 18 seconds and
Exactly.
watch,
Right.
go, that was good. They look great doing it, but no, I need to do it. I want it slow, step by step. I need guidance. It's different.
Yes, exactly. But if it's something like, how do I generate leads for my business? You could look on LinkedIn, right? But how are you going to decipher who is who and what they do based on a text post that may or may not have been written by AI?
I
Whereas
just
you
had
can go to YouTube, search for something, you see people, you can look at the time stamp, how long ago was this? Is it still relevant? And then you can look to see how many other videos that person has on that topic too, to see if they're actually a subject matter expert or if they're just, a one-off video that you happen to view. So there's so many different nuances of why we do the things we do. Really tapping into that human psychology as a creator, as a CEO, as an entrepreneur, and really understanding that before making a decision to say, I'm only going to be on social media and I'm not going to do YouTube. Like you're leaving a huge, huge, huge opportunity and a lot of money on the table if you're saying no to YouTube for insert whatever reason or excuse.
Yeah. And I think there is this, element of, we talked about efficiency, right?
Yeah.
YouTube for one video a week has a long tail, lots of impact. It is a place people go to address the how. So when they're ready to be solution finding, YouTube
Mhm.
is the preferred platform because it is a search engine that is both, yes, we're learning, but we're learning with video. And that's so important in the, can I get the result part of the equation.
Yeah.
And we think about, when do we go to LinkedIn? We go to LinkedIn because we're like, who are you? But we know how to do something. And now we're saying, are you our person? And
Hmm.
when we're in our different platforms like on social, it is, it's a what question. It's an entertainment question. It's an engagement. But regardless of your platform, you said something I want to just lean into it for a second, which is sales don't happen on the platform. They're
Hmm.
the catalyst for a conversation, and we're always selling off platform. Does that mean we can guide people through systems and, binging? Yes. But
Hmm.
decision making happens, especially in this age, in my very hard held opinion, person to person.
Exactly. And so
Always.
you had mentioned this in the very beginning too, is like part of what we were going to talk about is the bingeability. And then what I want to talk about too is like what that leads to, right? So anybody who's listening or watching this conversation, they're going to be like, okay, so what's in it for me? Like,
Mhm.
why should I even care? And so I ask people to really dive in and look at how much time you're spending, not just creating the content, but having conversations and say, are you, kind of ask yourself, am I receiving the same types of questions? Am I having the same types of conversations? And look at that and say, how can I create video content? Because it's not going to work on LinkedIn to create just one piece of content. It's not designed that way. So creating video content, 4 or 5 videos that talk about, 4 or 5 different points in the customer journey or addressing very commonly asked questions, and then giving the information, showing examples, having a lead magnet that they can download. So really over delivering on the value and showing that you're the expert, showing that you're the person that they can trust. And all of this is happening while you're in your business or doing something else, because once you've created that video, it's
Mhm.
now out there. And if you create a playlist where it makes sense for, these 4 or 5 topics, that, somebody can watch this video and they're like, okay, that's great. Oh, wait, she's got another one. And you've got it linked to that one and they're going to watch that one. So now you've got that whole bingeability like concept in play. And when you create that and then like you have one lead magnet or a different lead magnet for each one of those videos, and somebody's like, oh my gosh, Christine gave me so much value in here, and she gave me a lead magnet that's going to help me walk through these steps. Yeah, I want that. So they click on it. Now they're on your email list. Then if you have a sequence of emails set up, now your emails that you set up one time are now doing the work that's going to keep them like engaged in your world without you actually having to have that time of having the conversations. You're in the DMs, you're trying to convince somebody to convert over to, something. And so looking at it from that standpoint of like, how can I automate as much as possible where it's going to do the work, the redundant work essentially,
Mhm.
so that I can focus on my business, still be on social media, right? So you can still have those conversations, but set it up so that it's a lead generation machine where it's working for you. And that's what YouTube is. It's a 24/7 marketing and sales system. The YouTube algorithm is your marketing and sales person. It's doing the work for you. You just have to set it up with the videos to actually have it something to work for you for.
And I love this because we talk about it a lot here on this program, and it's certainly very much a hallmark of the services we offer, is it should be systematized.
Yeah.
What's the intent? What's the focus? Where are you leading them to? How do we connect them to? Because we do know people are taking a journey and they're distracted and they'll hit pause and they'll have to
Mhm.
go back and rewatch. And that, knowing that, it is
Mhm.
important to deliver against that.
Mhm.
And when you are walking people through step by step, it naturally leads to a separation between quality and something that is sizzle but no substance. And I want to talk specifically quickly here about premium clients. Are premium clients on YouTube? Because there's a lot of conversation of like, how do I just go find the people with money? And
Mhm.
I think that this gets a million opinions on it. But
Yeah.
talk to us a little bit about that.
I mean, premium clients are everywhere. They're on all the platforms. So you just kind of have to think about how they're actually looking for information. And they're looking on all the platforms. They're creating content on all the platforms and they're looking on all the platforms. And so the beauty of YouTube compared to social media is that when you create it and it's out there, if your target audience is a female CEO, maybe she's having a hard time sleeping, and she gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning because she's just like, I just have this on my mind. I have to figure this out. and she goes to YouTube and she searches for whatever it is that she's looking for and she finds it. If she goes to LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, how's she going to find it? She opens up the app and she starts scrolling, or like, it's not the same thing. So you kind of have to think through of like, how does my ideal customer think, and where should I have information that is going to be there for when she's ready to actually search and find and solve that particular problem. Social media is really great for when she's active in her business and she's on there. She's like, you know what, I need to spend some time and start building my network. And so she's on LinkedIn and she's starting to comment. She's finding new people to connect to. Hey, let's take this conversation to the DMs, whatever that might be. So it's a combination of those two, but really it's not, because everybody wants to have, well, I shouldn't say everybody, most people want to have high ticket clients. And so it's thinking through all of the different paths that person is going to be taking in order to say yes to the person that they trust.
And guys, if you're listening in the audience and you're thinking, wow, that seems like a lot of planning. Yes. And has the big rewards. That's why you hire Vicki. That's why you hire us. This is totally why you do it, because setting it up once will have the long-term ROI. So I love to ask all my guests this, because we're talking about amplifying our message, finding clients consistently, getting out there and serving the people that need the results and being effective and efficient at it. How are you winning right now in the marketplace? What's working to build your next client?
Interestingly enough, it's LinkedIn and YouTube. So that's where I'm finding most of my clients. Yeah, I'm actually starting to find more and more from YouTube. And it's because I've built the videos, I've built the systems to work together with the different videos, and then having a lead magnet that makes sense to get people onto my email list.
I love it. Well, because this is totally the path we went through. I connected to somebody who I know is very active on LinkedIn. She's like, you should talk to somebody about YouTube. Vicki is my number one person. I think she's amazing. I went to LinkedIn. You and I connected. We got off LinkedIn to a conversation. I said, now let's talk about creating a video that's going to show up on YouTube.
Yes. So great example, right?
Great example. So how do people find you? Tell us how they find you. And we want to make sure that they're going to go work with you to solve this problem and really build an engine that's going to be your solution to getting off social media 24/7.
Yeah, the best place to connect with me is on LinkedIn. So it's just at Vicki O'Neill. You can find me on YouTube as well, but as we know, YouTube's not a social media platform, so you can't actually have conversations unless you want to leave comments. So that's why LinkedIn's probably the best place. But then also let me know that you found me through this podcast. And I always like to know that, because then I can let Christine know as well that, here's how many people came through our conversation to connect with me.
I love it. Guys, please go check with Vicki. We will make sure that she has her contacts in our show notes, because we really want you to figure out the fastest path that is long-term to get seen, paid, and heard. And nothing is going to beat long-term content in the coming years. So get on board. Hire Vicki. Thank you for being our guest today. It's been a pleasure to have you here. Guys, this is it. This is another great episode. We will see you all on our next episode. We will see you there. That's a wrap on another amazing episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message with me, your host, Christine Campbell-Rappin. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss another great episode. And be sure to visit christinecampbellrappin.com/podcast to get a free resource on how to master your marketing message. We'll see you all on our next episode.